I didn't know this, but apparently I had fucking massive like cuts here. It was bleeding down my neck. What's going on, everyone? So you all seem to have enjoyed my Storytime Sunday last week where I talked about my worst injuries between the ages of 1 and 10. And I said, if you want to see a part 2, let me know. So many people wanted to see a part 2, so here it is. My 5 worst injuries in between the ages of 10 and 20. Before we start, as always, please subscribe and turn on notifications. Otherwise, you will miss all of these videos. I do not put Storytime Sunday videos anywhere else. And also go to www.allroundbymaitland.com and buy some merch. It's starting to get cold in Australia, so you need jumpers. This one is not an all-round jumper. I'm just waiting for mine to come in. I've had a lot of injuries in between the ages of 10 and 20. Like, when I say a lot, I mean a load, but I can't put them all in because I've decided to cap it at 5. So the 5 that I picked are just the ones that have like a funny story behind it. I've had worse injuries, but these ones are the ones that I think are interesting. I'm going to start it off with when I was 11 years old. This is when I first got diagnosed with celiac disease. Now you're probably wondering, how is this an injury, Maitland? Well, it's on the inside of the body, and it is by far the worst injury that I've had in my entire life that will never leave my body. I've had that many complications because of this celiac disease over the years. It's been the worst illness, injury, whatever the fuck that I've ever had in my whole entire life. It's made me a stronger person though, so I appreciate that, but apart from that, it's fucking shit. Now on to actual physical injuries. We'll start with when I was 13 years old. I used to ride motorbikes a lot when I was younger, so when I was 13 years old, I went to my friend's house. We decided we wanted to go across the highway and go get some lollies. He had so much acreage that we had to ride ages on his motorbikes all the way to the highway, and then we'd have to ride across the highway and then go to the shops and then ride back across all the way home. And obviously we weren't meant to do this. We were 13, his parents would not let us do this, but we decided we'd do it anyway. As I was pinning it, last minute, I seen there was a bit of wire. I had like a second before I seen it. I was like, fuck. As soon as I seen it, I was just like, get I hit this wire, it ripped my helmet off. So my helmet was all buckled up and shit. It ripped the helmet off, cut the strap, ripped the helmet off, cut my neck, didn't cut my head off, which is fucking awesome because there was wire here, wire here. My body must have just straight through like that, gone backwards through it. The bike went underneath. The bike ended up landing on my foot. I just remember being like, what the just happened? It was just so quick. I couldn't kickstart the bike. I got my mate to kickstart the bike for me, and then we just rode off again, and we ended up going across the highway, getting lollies, coming back and riding all the way back home. I didn't realize how bad it was, and then we got home and his mum knew straight away because I didn't know this, but apparently I had massive like cuts here. It was bleeding down my neck. She was not happy. She was not happy at all, but we kept our lollies. Then the funny thing about that is my ankle was pretty jacked up as well. That's why I couldn't start the bike again. My ankle was like really swollen. The next day we were moving tables, and this one table fell on my foot and it hurt. I was like, oh, what are the chances in 2 days I'm myself up here? It only turned out to be tissue damage, so it wasn't nothing broken. It was just tissue damage. Bonus story here, same person, same year. We kicked each other's feet. I had no shoes on, he had steel caps on, and my toe next to my pinky just snapped. It turned into an L shape, so broke my toe around that time as well. Now I'm gonna skip to when I was 15 years old. I was at my best mate Nick's house. You guys may have seen him a very, very, very long time ago. He was in my vlogs, but he hasn't been in any of these videos lately, so I'll bring him on for an episode of how I met Nick one day. I've known him since I was 5, so we've gotten up to a lot of shit over the years. One time when we were 15, he had a Toyota Corolla, which was his bush basher, and basically we would just go, that's what we would do. Up and down his driveway and shit. He had a massive driveway, heaps of land. So we'd always be, you know, just going around doing doughies and shit like that. One day I was like, dude, like, let me hang off the roof, holding onto both windows, like each hand on both window and the doors, just hanging on top of the roof while he was just pinning it down the driveway and then back up and doing like doughies and shit like that. He pinned it up the paddock and then decided just to rip the handbrake up and slide. And as he did that, my left hand let go and I've slid across like the car, a 180, boom, onto the bonnet. So I'm spinning around onto the bonnet, and then he slammed the brakes on. I've just flown off the bonnet straight into this massive pine tree into my rib cage. Winded me straight away, but it was hilarious. I stood up after I could breathe again. I stood up. I was like, that was fun. So we did it again and we just kept driving. It was such a good time. We had fun. Moving on to when I was 16 years old. I think it was 16. Might have been 15. I'm not sure. This is when I started like drinking a lot. I was at my friend's house one day and we got a bottle of tequila with the worm in it. This is the first time I've ever had tequila, and I don't want it again, it sucks. We played this card game. Every time you flip a card, if you don't guess it, you take a shot. We ended up having 11 shots each because there was 22 shots in the bottle. We had 11 shots each within the first 20 minutes because we just couldn't guess the right card. I ate the worm as well. Needless to say, I don't remember anything after that point except for waking up. What I did wake up with though was a massive egg on my head, and I split the back of my head as well. Apparently while I was drunk, I fell forward into the pavement, and that's how I up the front of my head. And then I went to have a shower and I fell over in the shower, split the back of my head and knocked myself out. That's where I woke up. I woke up in the shower like an hour later because I knocked myself out in the shower. I don't know why no one helped me, but it, right? Just a silly 16-year-old kid. Good times, good times. Next one we'll go with when I was 16 years old again. This is at Nick's house again. He had a ute this time. I was standing on the back and we were driving around again in the paddock, just doing what we do for fun. And he slammed the brakes on, and it has like ladder racks there. So I'm holding on like this, and you imagine a bar's right here. I'm holding on. He slammed the brakes on, and I've just straight into my throat, Adam's apple area. Straight away, couldn't breathe. I was like, I thought like I like collapsed my throat or some shit. And yeah, I just put this in here because I remember that distinctly. I remember the not being able to breathe, feeling like my throat was like someone was strangling me for ages. It was crazy. Good stuff. Good stuff. Anyway, that's just 5 of them. I could sit here all night and bore you guys with so many stories, but I decided 5, that is the cap, so 5 is the cap. I'm saving part 3 for when I turn 30, so it's between 20 and 30. I'm just joking, I'm just joshing with you. If you want to see a part 3, then maybe I can go from the ages of 20 to 25. I've had a few broken bones in between that time period, so some pretty interesting stories there as well. If you're interested in a part 3, then please let me know and I might do it. Give it a like, give it a comment, let me know if you want to see it, eh? Please subscribe and turn on notifications. As I said, if you do not, you'll miss all these videos. Go get your merch at www.allroundbymaitland.com. Get a beanie. You might have some up hair like myself. You'll find out soon what's wrong with that. And I usually throw my hat at the camera, but I can't throw my hat this time because I'm hiding what is underneath my hat. But what I do have is this, and it might be a little bit better. See ya.